Hey there, Toby. Hope you're having a great day today. Here's your video lesson. 3 things I want to talk about. I'll talk about those 3 things, and if you want me to look at anything or have any questions, you have my attention until Saturday at 5:30, which I'll be punching out, and I'll be on spring break for an entire week. And I'll be kind of, maybe I might check my email, I might not. See how it goes. I'll be traveling to Maryland with my son. So I had a chance to review those videos that you sent over. Awesome work. I love what you did with Highway to Hell. I'll just go down the list of things that I liked. I like the tone. I like the outer poise that you had. It was confident, right? When you played that, it looked like you were in charge of what was going on. I was not like worried, was he gonna hit that chord or not. You were playing it quite well. I love that first finger extension, how you're reaching from the ring finger, so you're working on this muscle right here, getting that strong. That's gonna pay off when we do bar chords, full bar chords. We'll talk about that next step. What else did I like? Yeah, all the sections were there. The rhythm guitar part is just that verse riff, just repeat over again. So if you want to play over top of Angus, if you want to play underneath Angus's solo, you would play the verse riff underneath that. I think it's the verse riff. Let me double check that. At any rate, though, you have the whole rhythm guitar part done for that song, so good work on that. Walking Fingers, I like this. It's the same sort of thing. I'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, overall, Highway to Hell looks great. Put that one in your back pocket. It's good. Let's move on to bigger and better things. So going back to a second ago, I talked about the walking fingers, the walking hammers exercise. It was the technique is looking good. What you want to make sure that you're not doing is rushing the hammer on to almost like what's called a grace note. So a grace note sounds like this. It's just a real quick ornament that you put on the notes. For the hammer-on exercise, hear the first note, hear the second note. Hear the first note, hear the second note. See, I'm way ready for the next note. So it's not this. Super fast. Eventually it will be that, but not right now. So it should be even. If you put a metronome on, beginning though, dot, 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 dot. So even on that, you might want to use the metronome for that. So don't rush the hammer there. Otherwise, it's looking very nice. Positioning is looking good. Number 2, I want to talk about is a brand new concept, which is used in a lot of soloing and lead playing for rock music, which is called string bends. We might have talked about them a while ago. Let's reintroduce them if we did that already. You have what are called half-step bends. There's a lot of different bends, but these are the 2 basic ones. You have a half-step bend and a whole step bend. Now, if you remember back on the fretboard, we're doing a root 5 and root 6, so it's a half step is 1 fret on your guitar. So from this G to this G sharp here is 1 fret. And then this is a half step going down. So there from the G to the F sharp is a half step below. And then you have what are called whole steps. These are called intervals, and intervals are the same set distance every single time without exception, right? The same way that if from your house to here, this crow flies a set amount of miles, the distances in music, sound-wise, are always the same. If they're different, they are something else, right? You cannot change a whole step and a half step to be something different unless you're adding them together somehow. But whole steps and half steps on their own, without any sort of fiddling, right? They're the same thing. So they're the same distance each time. So what does that mean for us? So say, for example, I go here to the note G on the 2nd string, 8th fret. So what we'll do, since you're getting the root 5 and root 6 notes down, when we get this next thing movable major out of the way, we're going to start learning the note names on strings 3, 2, 1, and that'll help us know better for string bending and soloing what to do, what notes to aim for. Because soloing is not about just wiggling your fingers up and down the strings, it's about aiming for specific things. So what we'll do is I'll go here to that G on the 8th fret right there. So E, C, C sharp, D, B sharp, E, F, F sharp, G with my ring finger there, okay? Well, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna have your thumb over top, okay? That's gonna give us some leverage. When I do that, my wrist is gonna pop up a little bit. It's gonna be like this right here. That's okay. You're gonna your palm on the back of the neck just a little bit, right? What I'm gonna have here is thumb over top, and then fingers 1, 2, 3 are gonna be on the second string, kind of bunched up right here. That's gonna give me some extra oomph to get up to the top. So it's gonna give me some control when I try to get up there. If I just try to do one finger, I feel it's gonna, I don't even bend like that. I use the other fingers to help me get up there. So I have my thumb for leverage, and I have my fingers 3, 2, 1 for control. They're not like on they're not on their own fret. They can kind of be bunched up over here, right? And that gives me a little extra control when I push up with the back of my wrist, up like this. See how my wrist is rising? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push up, and my thumb is gonna give me a little bit of leverage. So I'm kind of doing that motion right there. I'm gonna rock the string up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push up, and if you notice right here, I don't know if you can see this from your vantage point, but I'm getting underneath the pad of the fingers is where I'm pushing from. So I'm not pushing on the nails, I'm on the tips of my fingers, and I push up, and my pads kind of flatten out a little bit, like this right here. So when I push up, my fingers kind of start straightening out just a little bit. I don't go like this, like that right there. This, like that. So they're flattening a little bit, but they're still remaining flexed. When I push up, I'm still remaining flexed, and they look roughly about that right there. So I don't like hyperextend the tip joints when doing this technique. What you want to be doing, you want your fingers here, your angle to the horizon. Remember we talked last time about the partial bar and how the tip of the finger is pointing back at your face. It's the same thing here. So here, and these are pointing off to the horizon. I guess maybe these are pointing more towards like this spot out here, or like dead center of my chest. Right, so I'm here in the 8th fret. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this note here on the next fret up. That's a half step away. So I have G here, and then I go to G sharp. I go down to G again, and I try to match that note. What I'm doing is I'm shortening the length of the string to hit this higher note here. So I'm not bending out, I'm not doing that, right? Because that sounds, well, first off, it'll be out of tune. But when you do a string bend, the difference between someone who's like a decent amateur who like just plays for fun and someone who's actually trained, a trained musician, they're gonna aim, the trained musician is gonna aim for certain notes. I'm not just bending wildly out into space in hopes that I hit something, right? I'm actually aiming for a specific note. That's one of the secrets when you hear like the masters of phrasing, like you always say, like Gilmore, Hendrix, John Fogerty, Don Henley, like all those classic blues rock players, John Frusciante, if I can fall in that category. Very tasteful. Can he shred? Yes, he can shred. He chooses not to. He chooses to play tastefully to match his band. So even though he has the ability to fly up and down the neck, he is not doing that. He is tastefully choosing notes and bending to the correct note. That's what separates him, makes him awesome versus someone who just can, get what I call guitar center guitar playing, which is like a whole lot of nothing, right? You have to have something to say. Right? What I do to make sure that that's in tune is that I'll find what are called drone backing tracks. So I'll go to YouTube, right? And I'll type in, let's see here. So that note I was aiming for there is a G sharp drone backing track, or drone pad. Pad works as well too. You're gonna be familiar with pads with the Maris Enzo. That's one thing that it does. It makes what I call synth pads. And just to give you an idea, G sharp. You're gonna get some hippy dippy stuff on here. That's okay. It still works really well. Yeah, like worship drones. So say I pick this one here. Now we can do yoga if you want, or meditation, but with string bending with this one. And what I'm listening for when I bend that string, I'm going to wobble between my bent note and then the backing track, and then you'll hear that instability resolve itself. So you hear the wah, 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 and you'll hear it come into unity. That's what you're listening for in a string bend. You're trying to bend the string so you hear it slide into, here, I'll show you. You're clashing right now. And then it comes into unity right there. So the waveforms sync up with one another. So when you have two different notes, they're clashing with each other. That's how you hear things out of tune, because the wavelengths are the same. And then as you bend the string up, they start matching, and then they the same note, right? Listen to Pink Floyd's Division Bell, man. It is like awesome in terms of like him bending a note up. You hear the dissonance, and then he resolves it into the chord tones, which is why we should know notes on the fretboard. More on that later. Cool. So do that for me. And then what you do, if I didn't say it already, I forgot if I said, what I typed in there, I just typed in ambient pad, G sharp drone. So ambient pads, that's like synth pads. That's like the way I said what the Maris does, once you figure it out. Number 3 is continuation on our power chord journey into the next topic. And what we do here, I might make this a part 2 depending on how much longer. Actually, let's do this. Let's stop the video here because I want to make sure I devote adequate time to this topic. I don't want to rush through it. I'm going to stop the video here, and then I want to do a part 2 on this with the movable minor shape. So when next time you see me, the sun will probably have gone down, and I will be wrapping up for the day. All right, man. I'll see you in a little bit.